Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. In today's video we have yet another guide for Rivals of Aether 2, and specifically today we are going to be talking about Clairen. Now, full discrepancy, you're going to be able to hear my controller throughout the video. I'm sorry about that. I think it makes it more immersive personally. And the second thing that I want to say is this is going to be maybe a little bit different than most of the guides are, just because Clairen doesn't really have traditional combo routes in the same sense that other characters have traditional combo routes. And I, of course, am still going to be showing you a bunch of different combos that you can take. But in general, this is going to be a lot more how to get yourself into a setup with Clairen, more so than how to finish a setup with Clairen. So first things first with Clairen, let's talk about her throws, and she's going to have normal pummel, just a normal pummel, and special pummel, which is one of the best special pummels in the entire game because it frees the opponent in time and allows you to hit whatever aerial that you want. Now, when we're talking about low percent combos with Clairen, again, you hit special pummel, it doesn't matter what grab you can do, any of them are going to combo, but at low percents, if you aren't getting a special pummel, you're going to want to go for up throw because that's going to allow you to set up into up air, forward air, back air, all of that good stuff. And forward throw and back throw, it's really hard to get value out of these throws at low percents, and down throw is just hard to get value out of at all times, but when we get to higher percents, and that's when you get a majority of your value because you're going to be able to confirm both forward throw and back throw into forward strong, which is like obviously a really good kill confirm. Now, you should note that this only works if your opponent does not DI it correctly. If the opponent does DI it correctly, you are still able to follow them off stage most of the time with a forward air or a neutral special. Sometimes if the DI like max perfectly like you just saw right there, it can be a little bit difficult to get an engagement off of. And in general, I would say forward throw is easier to combo off of than down throw, or rather back throw, especially if they DI it correctly. Like a perfectly DI forward throw is a lot easier to convert off of than a perfectly DI back throw in my opinion. So if you have a choice between back throw and forward throw, I would personally recommend going for forward throw. But if your opponent is DIing bad, then both of them are amazing choices to end the stock. And I should also note that down throw at higher percents can be a really nice throw to get your opponents off stage into a bad position. And if they DI it right, you can combo off of it, but this is still going to be Clairen's least useful throw. And at lower percents, I would recommend going for the up throw. At higher percents, I would recommend going for the back throw or the forward throw. Moving on to the tilt, starting off with Clairen Jab, and this is just a super good poking tool. It's got really nice frame data on it, and the most important part is obviously going to be that tipper at the end. And at low percents, what I recommend if you hit a jab is you either go for a neutral special or you go for a grab. Now, it's going to be easier to confirm off the grab than it is to confirm off the neutral special, just because like actually hitting the tipper neutral special can be a little bit tricky, especially if they're mixing up the DI. So if you are struggling to confirm off that neutral special, I would recommend just going for a grab. You're able to get a ton of damage that way as well. And when we get to the higher percents with jab, basically everything you got at lower percents, you are also going to be able to get at the higher percents. But it should be noted that you do have to react to how far they get sent by this jab in order to actually get the tipper smash attack. But you're going to be able to get an F smash pretty much no matter what. You want to get a little bit fancy. Maybe you throw a dash attack in there. Sometimes it tippers, sometimes it don't. Go for anything you want. You can get really, really creative with Clairen off of the jab. But if you are struggling to kill, forward smash is going to do the trick. Really nice and simple confirm right here. Can you get creative? Yes, absolutely. Do you need to? No, you can just forward smash. Next move we got to talk about is forward tilt, and I'll keep it very brief. That is what forward tilt is good for. This is just a basic sword tool. It's good for spacing, got a nice little tipper on the end of it. It's basically the same length as your forward smash, but it's just got slightly better frame data for a little bit of a weaker kick, and that's it. Not a lot to really understand with this move. Next move we got to talk about is down tilt, and it does have that very obvious use of just a tech chasing tool, which is something that is nice. You know, we all need something to set the opponents up into a tech, but I'd say the main value that you get from down tilt is just using it to put your opponents in a really, really bad situation off stage, because it just sends at such a nasty angle. Like, I honestly just really, really hate getting hit by it, especially if you get 2-frame by it. You're pretty much just guaranteed to not make it back. It's a little bit longer than jab is, but I would say in general, in neutral, you're not going to be using a ton of down tilt. This is really a tool that you want to use to set your opponent up into a tech chase, or more importantly and mainly to just put them in a terrible position off stage. So you going for 2 frames with Clairen, be spamming that down tilt, because if it hits, they're probably not making it back. The next move I want to talk about is dash attack, and the way that dash attack works is if you hit the tipper on it, the opponent gets sent back into Clairen. If not, it's just like a normal hitbox. And it should be noted that if they DI really well, they kind of just get popped up in the air. They don't move back at all. So that is something that you may have to react to. And if they DI it perfectly, like you just saw right there, you are going to have to change your follow-up. You're not just being able to do an up tilt, or you're not just going to be able to do a forward strong. You are going to have to do a run-up forward strong, or you're going to have to do a run-up neutral special, whatever you decide to do. So just be aware that if they DI it perfectly, whatever you're normally doing doing isn't going to work. But if they don't DI it perfectly, then you can go for up tilt at percents like this for combo extensions. You can even go for a side B just for a really strong hit. And of course, you can go for that forward strong. So in general, dash attack is a really good combo tool and kill confirm. It can be a little bit tricky if they DI it perfectly, but you could easily still convert off it. You just have to be ready to react. And the final tilt that we have to talk about is up tilt. And this is actually going to be the first move in Clairen's kit that you can just use as a normal combo tool. But it also, of course, is going to have that tipper hitbox. And there's kind of two ways generally that up tilt is going to send out. It's either going to send the opponent vertically, like you saw, I guess horizontally, like you saw right there, or it's just going to send them straight up. And if it sends them straight up, if you can, you always want to get an up air off of up tilt just because you're going to be able to chain it into itself and end it with a tipper up air or a tipper back air, maybe even a tipper up strong. But if the opponent doesn't DI it like that and they actually DI it outwards, then you can go for a down air or a forward air depending on what percent they are or how hard they actually get hit. So in general with up tilt, this is a move that can be used to reset your opponents back into the air. It is a good combo tool. You don't always have to space it, unlike all of Clairen's other moves, but you should always be spacing. The sour spot for this is just as good as the sweet spot. It's just going to be harder to react to. And in general, if you can hit an up tilt into up air, that is going to be your main moneymaker. Next up is the strong attacks. You're going to have the up strong, you got the down strong, which does start behind Clairen. There is utility there, and the forward strong. Now, 95% of the time, forward strong is just like the correct choice of your strongs. The hitbox on it is the biggest. It is the strongest. It's the easiest to confirm into. This move is just like really, really good if you couldn't tell. Like the fact that I can do that is pretty crazy, but there are times that you want to confirm into an up strong. Like right there. Very specific time that you would maybe want to confirm into an up strong instead of a down strong or a forward strong. Now, forward strong would still work in that case scenario. And I would say in general, the one that you get the least utility out of is going to be down strong, but there is still utility for it because it does come out quicker than forward strong. Like this back hit of down strong is going to be coming out immediately. So if you just like have a call out, you think someone is going to land somewhere, down strong is not a bad tool to just say like, hey, don't land there or I'll kill you. It is quicker than forward strong, but it is also a lot more committal than forward strong because she has to do that other hit. So what I would recommend, if you want to be fancy styling the opponent, hell, you can go for this down strong, but every other case scenario, pretty much, you want to be going for forward strong. That move is obscenely good. It's really easy to confirm into, and it hits like a truck. Moving on to the aerial, starting off with neutral air, and this is easily the weirdest move in Clairen's kit just because there are so many different intricate hitboxes of it depending on whether you tipper the entire move, maybe you don't tipper the move at all, maybe you just hit one tipper right at the end there. Like, there are so many different things that can generally change how Nair is going to send the opponent, but in general, you are still going to be trying to find the same thing from it, which is like a combo extender. You don't want to end combos with Nair. You can start combos with Nair, though it is a little bit tricky just because you actually have to be like up close to your opponent in contrast to like, you know, using this massive sword. But in general, with up tilt, or rather with Nair, I would be trying to confirm it into either an up tilt, an up air, or a grab. Those are going to be the easiest things to confirm it into, and those are also just going to be really good combo extenders for Clairen. So I would use Nair as like a combo extender, but I wouldn't be throwing out this move a ton in neutral just because the hitbox on it isn't super great, and when you're clashing with opponents in the air, especially, sometimes they can just fall out of it, and it can be used as an edge guarding tool as well just because it lingers for so long, but I think you have better edge guarding tools as Clairen, as you will see in just a second. So Nair, pretty useful combo tool. If you tipper the end of it, it can be used to actually kill the opponents, but in general, I would say the majority of the value you'd be getting from this move is just using it to extend your combos. Next up is going to be forward air, and even without the tipper, you can just use this as a nice and basic combo tool, but with the tipper, specifically fair 1, that is the next level for Clairen. You want to level up your Clairen, you got to start doing these fair ones because you are able to get so much utility out of it. High percents, it's a kill tool. Low percents, it is a combo tool. And in general, it's just a very good neutral tool. Tipper 2 is also going to be doing the same thing. It's just like a lot harder to hit Tipper 2. And it is possible to hit both tippers of the forward air if you drift back after you do it. It's just like really, really hard to do, so I wouldn't recommend trying to go for that. I would recommend just trying to go for a forward air 1 into literally whatever you want. And it should be noted that when you are edge guarding with forward air, if I hit a sour spot or the tipper of it with the first hit of forward air, but the second hit is the not good hit of it, then the second hit is going to override that first hit like you see right there. I don't know why it took me so long to explain that. So you just want to make sure if you are tippering with the first hit of forward air that you are tippering and then like immediately fast falling so you don't get hit with the second hit, or you want to space it so the second hit is the one that is going to be tippering as you just saw right there. So forward air, really, really good comboing tool, really solid edge guarding tool if you can set it up with the tipper. And even if you can't set it up with the tipper, it's still a solid combo extender. You're just not getting as much value. Next up is going to be back air, and this is a combo tool at lower percents even without the tipper, but I'd say the main value that you get from back air is just going to be straight up as a kill move. I would recommend doing forward air 1 instead of going for a back air in neutral if you want to use that as a combo tool. They pretty much fill the same niche, and I just think forward air 1 is a better combo tool in general. Does that mean you can't combo with back air? No, of course you can combo with back air. I just think it's not like the perfect way to combo, but if you do combo with back air, generally at lower percents, you're going to want to confirm that either into another back air or into an up tilt if you can. Up air as well. If you can confirm into up air, always confirm into up air. That's Clairen pro tip 101. But basically, back air at the lower percents can be used as a combo tool, yes, but I would say the majority of the value that you get from it is as a kill tool. Moving on to up air, and there's 3 hitboxes of up air. You're going to have this weak inner hitbox, that's the normal hitbox, but you have this weak inner hitbox, doesn't do a ton. The normal hitbox, which is really, really strong for comboing, and then of course you are going to have the tipper hitbox. And in general, rules for Clairen up air, because this is a really important move. It's her best move in my opinion. If you can confirm into up air, you should absolutely be going for another up air. Get as many up airs as you can when you are comboing with this move. If you can't combo with an up air, then maybe you just want to end it with a back air, end it with a forward air. So rule number 1, if you can get Clairen up air into Clairen up air into Clairen up air, you should be going for Clairen up air into Clairen up air into Clairen up air. Rule number 2, never ever go for the tipper hitbox of full up air until you are ending your combo. And the reason for that is if you just go for it, a lot of the time, you're not going to be able to convert off it because tipper up air is a very strong move. So in general, you want to be using tipper up air as the end of your combos, not in the middle, not in the start, at the end of your combos, and that way you're going to be able to get the maximum value out of up air. And really quickly, just for anyone that's maybe struggling to hit a tipper up air, you don't need to hit like the top hitbox of the up air. You can actually hit the side hitbox of Clairen's sword as you're seeing right now. So if you are struggling with this move, it might be easier for you to line up this side hitbox of up air than it is for you to hit like this actual tipper hitbox of up air. Just something to consider. And our final aerial is going to be down air. And I want to make this very clear that you can use down air as a combo starter, and it is a very good combo starter. Both the sour spot of it and the sweet spot of it, you're going to be able to get a ton of utility out of it. And for the sweet spot specifically, if the opponent doesn't tech or do anything, you're able to just chain this move into itself over and over and over again. So if the opponent's being lazy, definitely take note of that. But I wouldn't recommend down air as a combo starter just because it is so much more committal than something like a forward air or a jab or a neutral special, up tilt even, maybe not as committal as an up tilt, but if you're down airing someone's shield, then yeah, absolutely it is more committal than an up tilt. So this move is something that is very high risk, but it's also something that is very high reward. So I'm not saying you should never go for it. I'm just saying it's something that you shouldn't be throwing out a neutral willy-nilly. And the main value that you're going to be getting from down air, in my opinion, is if you're doing an up air combo, let's say, and they're getting too far away from you, and you just want to say, do you know what? Let's reset that combo, tech chase situation. That is what down air gives you. An immediate tech chase situation, pretty much the second that you want it, and you can confirm into it off of up air, you can confirm into it off of forward air, you can confirm into it off of neutral special. So whenever I want to tech chase the opponent, I down air them. Whenever I want to spike the opponent, obviously I down air them as well. That's going to be just a normal spike off stage. But if you want to keep the opponents up, you up air. If you want to reset to the ground, you down air, and any in between, you can use like, you know, the rest of her moves. Moving on to the special, starting off with neutral special. Now, neutral special 1 is going to act basically the exact same as a jab would. It's just going to send them pretty much straight up. You are able to DI it a lot more than you would a jab, but that's not going to stop you from getting literally every single combo thing that you want. Then you have neutral special 2, which is going to be a fairly strong hitbox. Nothing crazy, but it is a very solid edge guarding tool. Then you're going to have neutral special 3, which is a very strong hitbox. That thing absolutely explodes people. And then you have neutral special 4, which you're never going to hit anyway, so it doesn't really matter, but obviously very, very strong. So with all of those being considered, the main usage for neutral special in the air is going to be angling it down so it covers like a very specific hitbox, angling it up as well. And it can just be used as a super, super potent combo tool that other aerials simply would not be able to access. And then as an edge guarding tool, it is going to be Clairen's best edge guarding move because you can angle it up, you can angle it down, and also it just sends out super, super far. The hitbox on it is also massive. Now, it should be noted that in order to actually edge guard with it, you cannot hit them with the first hit of neutral special because the first hit of neutral special will just pop them up. It has to be at least charge 2 or charge 3, and you can't just walk off stage charging neutral special if the game doesn't allow you. So you have to jump off already charging the neutral special. If you want to get a charge 3, what I would recommend doing is jumping off from the middle platform here and then just staying against the wall and releasing charge 3 as they try to make it back to the wall, because it just covers like so much space. And then the main way that I would recommend going to edge guard with neutral special would be just with neutral special 2. That's gonna kill. It would be just with neutral special 2, just going out there and trying to pinpoint the opponent. As you can pretty clearly see, really, really broken, and it just takes up so much space that you normally wouldn't be able to capitalize on. Next up is going to be side B, and side B is a really interesting move. There honestly really isn't anything else like it in this game, or in any game that I've played for that matter. The hitbox is going to be where Clairen once was, and she is going to dash forward, and if you hit the opponent with it, it's going to actually give you all of your resources back. Like, it's not going to put you into special fall, but if you don't hit the opponent with it, then it is going to put you into special fall. So when you are recovering with this move, you got to be careful with it that you're going to be able to get back to the wall, and as long as you're going to be able to get back to the wall, you should be fine though. And it's honestly pretty good for getting back to the wall, just because Clairen becomes like invincible for halfway of it. So that's obviously pretty solid, but using this as something that you can combo with, it's pretty difficult just because the frame data on it is really bad. It's going to be Clairen's slowest move, I believe. I'm pretty sure it's Clairen's slowest move, but if you have something that's like a really juicy hit, like a downer like that, for example, or an up air that just seems to send at the right hitbox, you can be going for this side B. But just know it is a big commitment, like the biggest commitment that you can take as Clairen. If this move doesn't hit, you are most likely going to take a punish, but if the move does hit, the opponent is probably going to die. Really quickly, I also just wanted to add that side B is a really good defensive tool just because I think this guy is going to swing where I am. Actually, I'm not there anymore. I disengage from that situation with an active hitbox as well, so if they follow into it, they're going to get hit. Even if they don't exactly follow into it, they're probably going to have to shield it, so you are going to be able to at least disengage from that situation. So if you think your opponent is going to swing, instead of shielding or parrying, using side B as an option is not a bad tool either. It is a little bit more risky though, as everything is with this move. Moving on to Clairen's up B, which is basically just a Roy up B, except you have this second hitbox as well, just by pressing B a second time. And if you want to get a tipper of this hitbox, you do have to hit them with the second hitbox. I don't believe the first hit of it actually has a tipper, but to be honest, the tipper of the second hitbox, you're not going to be getting anything off of that. It's just like to ensure that the opponent definitely isn't going to be able to get a punish on you. And this is just going to be your typical recovery tool. It is nice that you can mix up the timing on it, especially if your opponent wants to go for a ledge trump, for example. They're ledge trumping, then I can do the second hit to actually get on stage, and then they roll off the ledge. Well, now I don't have to do that second hit to get on stage. I could just barely land there. So you do have mix-ups with the up B, which is obviously super nice, but the move itself isn't very fancy. It's just a recovery tool. And the final move we got to talk about for Clairen is going to be her counter. Now, the way the counter works is it makes a big circle around her, and basically, it just, wherever you hit Clairen on that part of the circle just pushes you straight out and then forward. And it should be noted that while this circle is out, you are unable to do a second counter as Clairen, so you're only able to get one counter at a time, and when that barrier is out, it also destroys all projectiles that are in it. So that's going to be really, really important, especially in matchups against like Fleet, Crag, even Lockstomp, for example. That's going to have a lot more impact. So you want to be getting a lot of value out of your down B in those matchups, because just the deletion of a projectile is obviously going to be super, super strong. But aside from that, just your normal counter, not the strongest thing in the world, but also not the weakest thing in the world. And with that, I thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Sport has been absolutely unreal as late. If there's anything I left out, got wrong, or if you just want to say hi, leave a comment down below. Be sure to sub while you're down there, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.